Thanks very much, Tim, and my pleasure to close the evening. And been here for quite some time, so I promise not to take too much of your time, but I would like to add my own acknowledgement to those that have been acknowledged, our special guest this evening, particularly acknowledge our Bishop, but all of our guests and all of you, in excess of 300 people here tonight. And I thank you very much for honouring the occasion by your presence. That is very much appreciated, very much valued. Whilst it may be something of a generalisation, I think that teachers and school support staff as people are really the ultimate pragmatists. Ask a teacher, for example, how they are going, and they will talk about their students or a particular student. Or perhaps they'll discuss that long-awaited breakthrough that they've been seeking for that particular young person who's been struggling throughout the year. In general, teachers, school support staff are not comfortable or accustomed to giving themselves praise. Certainly they're much better at affirming their colleagues and their peers, as you have done here tonight, but in the busyness of the school day, even this peer-to-peer acknowledgement can take a back seat to the daily reality and hustle and bustle of school life. In the main, most of us are not particularly inclined to self-commendation, fearing that it might be interpreted as arrogant or perhaps misplaced. However, I strongly believe that in the world of 2017, it is critical that excellent professional achievement be appropriately lauded and acclaimed as we've done tonight. We understand the importance of affirmation and positive encouragement for our students, for our young people, whether it be academic or sporting or cultural or whatever meritorious achievement. And earlier this afternoon, as Tim mentioned, the Bishop presented a number of awards for excellence to a remarkable group of our Year 12 graduating students from our systemic high schools, and it was a wonderful event. And so too, a similar recognition and affirmation for our professional educators and our staff who work across our system of schools. It's simply essential. It's an acknowledgement of who you are and what you do and the circumstances within which you do it. And I believe perhaps more than ever that the mark of a progressive and effective profession is one that sets high standards for itself, not from outside, but from itself, for itself, from the inside, and then works collaboratively in order to achieve those high standards. And I think that's what you are all doing here tonight. In education, we believe in setting high standards and high expectations for all, for our staff and students alike. And part of realising our mission to create vibrant Catholic school communities for our young people is that very affirmation and recognition of the wonderful people in our schools and our Catholic Education Office who make this happen. People like yourselves who are here tonight. It is important then that we take time in our school year to applaud the kind of achievement that we've heard and seen and felt about tonight. And so hence the purpose of the Lighting the Way award ceremony. This is a newly developed format, and we gather together to recognise and promote collectively as a Catholic school community the value of professional and personal accomplishment, because you can't separate the two. They go hand in hand. And we talk in our work about the ministry of our work, the ministry of Catholic education. And here we are, gathered in this room, in excess of 300 people committed to the ministry of Catholic education in a time when our world's in somewhat of a crisis. How good is it, the things that you do, and how grateful are so many for the way in which you do them. Tonight's awards are, in my view, a fitting way to recognise those involved in reaching those significant career milestones that we celebrated at the beginning of this evening. And on some occasions in shaking hands with those people, for me it's a great privilege, I tried to say, in congratulating them, thank you on behalf of the hundreds and thousands of young people whose lives you've touched. Because that's what we're celebrating here tonight in those career milestones. And I'm in awe of those people who made a commitment 20, 30, 40 plus years ago to do that and come to school each day still doing it. How remarkable is that? We live in and work in an era, as you well know, of increasing accountability and complexity and external scrutiny. And the constant challenge for us as educators in this country is to improve and to do more with less. And that perhaps economic view of the world sits uncomfortably and ill at ease with those of us who work in education. However, we should account to those we serve. We should account, firstly, to our students, our young people. That's our first port of accountability. And then to our families and colleagues and the communities that we serve more broadly. And to be able to say that we've done the very best we could with the resources that we've given. And that's what we've also celebrated here tonight in a variety of fashions. I contend that we have a mutual obligation in this profession to share the good news stories of our schools. We have lots of people quick to tell us the other side of that story. But this Catholic school system in this diocese is a good news story. And don't have anyone tell you otherwise. And why is it? Because of the 300 plus people sitting here tonight and the colleagues with which you share your working life each day in this terrific diocese led by our terrific bishop. The stories of teachers and support staff who've dedicated their whole professional working lives to educating young people. That's who we're celebrating. Who've collaborated with their peers and who've given extra effort above and beyond what could normally be asked of people, who've led the way in a whole variety of innovative ways. All of that has been celebrated. And there are lots of good news stories. And so tonight, as we come to the end of our evening, I again would like to acknowledge and thank our Bishop for his continuing support of our system of schools and the support personally and professionally of our teaching and support school staff. There is no bishop in this country more supportive of Catholic education than Bishop Peter Ingham. And it's my privilege to serve as his Director of Schools, and I know you feel exactly that same way. And the model of his care and the presence that he constantly gives to us, such as tonight, are great gifts. To Michelle, representing the Catholic Development Fund, I'd like to thank the Catholic Development Fund for your generous sponsorship of this evening, and I ask you to convey those thanks to Tony Sanderson in his absence. He and your staff are great supporters of our work to the Catholic Club. David and Mary Ellen, I thank you for being here, and I thank you for your ongoing support. The Catholic Club are just wonderful supporters, particularly of Catholic education in the MacArthur. And I acknowledge all of the staff in our schools and our Catholic Education Office for their untiring work, whether they're here tonight or whether they're unable to be here tonight. I feel privileged to be able to work with them and to serve with them. I thank the many people who've been involved in tonight's proceedings. There are so many of them, and it'll take me a while to get to each of you to thank you personally, but I'll attempt to do that. But I'm very grateful. I'm sure you can just begin to imagine the amount of work that it takes to organise and bring to fruition a night like tonight. And I know Tim will acknowledge them at the end of the proceedings, but I'm personally very grateful to each and every one of you. And so in closing, I commend and congratulate all the nominees and the award winners, and I congratulate them as the most worthy recipients of the honour that's been bestowed upon them tonight. And I feel that the greatest honour that I've received tonight is to be in your presence. And I thank you for that, and thank you for being here. Thanks very much, everyone.